I gave my cousin my lottery ticket and he won $50,000. Now my wife demands I take it back. Here's what happened. Subscribe to Am I the Jerk on YouTube and hit the bell for notifications. We had a belated Christmas gathering last week with my extended family. The custom for this event is that we exchange stocking stuffers, nothing over $10. Ever since we've had this gathering, I've always bought scratch-off lottery tickets for all the adults. As you would expect, they're almost always trash, but every year we have a few hit for an extra ticket, $2, $5, or even $10. One year my uncle's ticket hit for $50, and everyone went crazy. It's always a good time. So this year, my 23-year-old cousin goes nuts. He holds up his ticket and claims that it just hit the max jackpot of $50,000. Everyone rushes over. A couple of my uncles verify, and yep, this kid just won $50,000. I was elated. I scooped him up in a big bear hug and said, "Merry Christmas, you lucky jerk." He was screaming, and his mom was actually in tears. The whole room was excited. It was literally one of the top 10 experiences of my life. I feel my phone vibrate in my pocket, and I pull it out to see my wife has sent a text message that says, "Come out to the car." I go outside and can tell by her body language that she's ticked. She told me that there's no way we're giving my cousin $50,000, then starts fussing at me about buying the lotto tickets to begin with. Two things to explain. I'm not saying $50K isn't a lot of money. It's a ton. But I'm in my mid-40s and I have a 2-decade professional career. My wife is a stay-at-home mom by choice. We drive later model cars that are all paid for. Our retirements and the kids' college accounts are fully funded. Our only debt is the house. I'm saying this to show that while $50K would be nice to have, it's not life-changing money for us. My cousin, on the other hand, just graduated from college. His mom is single and was one of those fiercely independent women who refuse charity. She took on extra jobs to help him pay for school. He worked at least 2 jobs himself while going to school full-time and still managed the dean's list. But he still had to take out loans. He landed a job, but he couldn't afford a car yet or to live close to the office. So he's looking at nearly a 2-hour commute. He's also saving for an engagement ring for his sweet girlfriend of 3 years. This money would literally change this kid's life, and frankly, I think it couldn't have gone to a better member of my family. I explained to her that we're not giving him $50K. We gave him a ticket I spent $5 on. She's not buying it and won't let it go. She's now demanding I go back in there and take the ticket from him, saying maybe we'll give him some of it. We argue for a little bit, but I can't get her to explain why she wants this money so bad other than it's ours and I'm not giving it away. We fought all the way home, and she hasn't spoken more than a couple words to me since. Am I the jerk? No, definitely not the jerk by any stretch of the imagination. Your wife's just being extremely greedy here. You didn't give away $50,000. You gave away $5 and that kid turned it into $50,000. Great for him. It really does sound like it would go a long way in his hands. Versus your wife, who's gonna spend it on what? It sounds to me like you guys are pretty well taken care of. There's no need for her to be so selfish over this money. She's really kind of showing her true colors here. Hopefully she hasn't racked up a bunch of credit card debt or something that our original poster doesn't know about. And that's why she wants the extra $50K, cause that'll be a whole other conversation. You can submit your own stories to be featured here on the channel. The story submission link is in the description below. And if you want to listen to some vibey music in the background, check out easymode, also linked below. And don't forget to subscribe. My nephew had an hours-long tantrum because I refused to give him one of my son's toys. We hosted Thanksgiving at my place. My brother, his wife, and their almost 4-year-old son were among the guests. As people were leaving, my brother asked if my nephew could take home one of my 2-year-old son's toy trucks. My nephew had been playing with it non-stop since they arrived and wanted to keep it. My brother said that he'd replace the toy if I told him where I got it. I told my brother that I'd be happy to give him a link to the store where I bought it, but I wouldn't give him the toy then and there. I refused for two reasons. Firstly, my brother and sister-in-law have a terrible habit of giving my nephew everything he asks for. He's way too old for that. Secondly, I don't want to reinforce to my nephew that it's okay to just take things he wants. My brother said that my nephew would throw a tantrum if he didn't get the toy then and there, and that everything would be easier if I just let him take the toy and get sent a replacement in the mail. I told my brother that I wouldn't be an enabler for my nephew's bad behavior, and that it's my brother and sister-in-law's problem if he throws a tantrum. Of course, the inevitable happened. My nephew started shrieking inconsolably at the top of his lungs, and my brother, sister-in-law, and nephew had to leave. Later that evening, I got an angry text from my brother saying that my nephew screamed his head off for the entire 3-hour car ride home, and only stopped screaming after he literally passed out from exhaustion. He said that the tantrum was my fault, since it would have been completely avoided if I'd just given my nephew the toy, and accused me of backseat parenting, since in his words, it's not my place to set an example for his son. My wife thinks we should have just handed the toy over to make things easier, especially since our son has a ton of toys, and isn't particularly attached to that specific truck. He wouldn't have noticed it missing for just a couple days. I still maintain that it's well within my rights to set an example for my nephew, even if it goes against my brother and sister-in-law's parenting style of coddling their son, and that the tantrum is 100% a result of their terrible parenting habits. But I ask you, am I the jerk? This is one I could see from both angles, but I do gotta lean towards our original poster. It does sound like this kid needed to learn this lesson sooner or later. If mom and dad had been willing to say no once in a while, then this wouldn't have been such a big reaction. He would be used to not always getting his way. This behavior is only gonna get worse as he gets older. As far as I'm concerned, original poster's doing them a favor, but unfortunately, mom and dad are probably just gonna undo all of that immediately. My girlfriend threw a tantrum because I didn't save her any food. I, male 28, have been with my girlfriend, female 29, for 14 months. We're struggling with money issues right now, with me being the sole income earner. My girlfriend used to eat restaurant food either by going out or ordering takeout, but ever since she lost her job, she couldn't do it anymore. I cook twice a week and keep leftovers for busy days since my job is physically demanding and time-consuming. My girlfriend eats my cooking but hates eating leftovers. In the past, she'd eat out while I ate the leftovers, but now, since money is tight, eating out is no longer affordable. My girlfriend hates that, and she's lost weight since she'd rather go hungry than eat leftovers. I don't know why she feels so strongly about it. On to the conflict. Last night, I came home late from work and started reheating leftovers for dinner. My girlfriend came into the kitchen asking if I was cooking, but I said no since I already have leftovers ready to eat. She got upset and said that we should really limit eating leftovers and just leave this type of food for hobos and broke college students. I just shrugged and she left the kitchen in a hurry. She came back after I got done eating and looked at me asking where her dinner plate was. I said I didn't save her any food because I assumed since it's leftovers that she wouldn't want to eat. She had a full-on tantrum about how selfish and inconsiderate I was not to save her some food, and that she'd be going to bed hungry because of me assuming things. I had an argument with her in which I said that she was acting childish, and she looked shocked that I spoke to her this way, and yelled that I did this deliberately to prove a point, and that I should have cooked in the first place to avoid having her eat leftovers. But now even leftovers are gone and she was hungry. She ended up going to bed hungry and cold-shouldered me for hours because of it. Am I the jerk? Alright, so for this one, I'd say it really just seems like your girlfriend's having a hard time adjusting to this change in her lifestyle. You guys can't afford to eat out anymore, and she's not really that happy about it, it seems. I will say if she wants a proper cooked meal, she's not working. She's home all day. If she doesn't want the leftovers you made from a day or two ago, then she's welcome to make a fresh meal. I'm sure you'd appreciate it since it sounds like you're working hard and doing all the cooking. cooking, and then having her complain about it. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong and she does do some cooking here and there, but if you're really hungry, make yourself some food. You've always had an issue with leftovers in the past. Why would our original poster assume tonight was any different? I'm sure her being hungry also didn't help matters. We all get a little bit more irritable when we haven't had anything to eat. My sister refuses to stop walking around the house in her thong, so I put on something even more extreme to show her just how uncomfortable it can be. So I'm a 17-year-old boy who lives at home with my mom and older sister. Recently, my sister has taken to wearing a t-shirt and a thong around the house. I asked her to stop, as it made me feel uncomfortable, because I didn't particularly want to see her privates. My mom wasn't too pleased, and claimed I couldn't tell my sister what to wear in her own house, and even asked if it was me being attracted to my sister. This is not the case for 3 reasons. 1, she's my sister. 2, I'm asexual. 3, I'm gay. Now, most of you are probably expecting me to say that I walked around with my meat and 2 veg wriggling around like several puppies in a paper bag. But come on, that's below even me. No, I got creative. Now, you see, for a guy, I'm very feminine. I like wearing skirts, dresses, crop tops, and things like that. Let's just say my mom is not the biggest fan of this. And there's one item of clothing she hates more than anything else: the maid outfit. So I spot my sister going downstairs in just a thong and a t-shirt once again, and she asks if I want to come watch TV. I tell her yes, and that I'll be down in a minute. I head to my room, slip into the maid outfit, and head downstairs. I've never seen someone so confused, angry, and disappointed. She told me to go get changed, to which I reminded her that we couldn't tell each other what to wear in the house. Looking annoyed still, but slightly defeated, she told both of us to go get changed, and my sister stopped doing it. So I won? In all sincerity, by force, my mom has come to accept my more feminine side a bit more now, and we have a little chuckle about this incident now. I mean, if she's not getting the message through words, I guess you gotta show her through action. I'm sure she immediately became uncomfortable when you walked in the room, and got just a small taste of what you've been experiencing with her walking around as she is. At the end of the day, it's inappropriate to be walking around dressed like that when there are other people home. Nobody else wants to see that. Just wear something that at least the surprise isn't out when you bend over. It's common courtesy. That kind of thing is meant to be attractive. Who the heck are you trying to attract in your house? No one? Good. Then wear something else. I know my boyfriend's doctor friends don't like me, but asking me to leave my boyfriend's birthday party that I threw was the last straw. So for context, I'm a 29-year-old female and my boyfriend is a 34-year-old male, and a doctor. Most of his friends are from work, and they all seem to dislike me and act distant. Maybe because I'm not a doctor too? I don't know and don't care, honestly. Since we started dating, they've been asking to hang out without me, and they leave any event I'm at. My boyfriend said they're just taking their time to get used to me. Anyway, his birthday was days ago. I'd arranged for the party and paid for everything. It wasn't a surprise since the party was held at the restaurant, and he needed a heads up so he could invite his doctor friends. We got there, and then his friends started arriving. They came to greet him and started shaking his hand and hugging him while completely ignoring me, even though I was there next to him. The tension started when one of them started making remarks about the way I dressed. I sucked it up, but another friend started interrogating me about my degree, then implying I was ignorant for my food choice. What? An hour later, another one asked if I could leave because they wanted to discuss work stuff and it's confidential. I was so shocked I laughed, asking why he thought it was appropriate to discuss work during a party, and he replied that I had an attitude. An argument ensued, and they demanded that I leave, but I said absolutely not. My boyfriend finally spoke up after it escalated, and asked that I keep the peace and go home, but I refused, and reminded him and let his friends know that I'd arranged for this party, and paid for it, so they should leave since they were just guests. He pulled me aside and begged that I go home, after they said if I don't leave, they will, but I still refused. They left, all of them, and the party was cut short. My boyfriend was upset and started complaining at home that I ruined his birthday the minute I started arguing with his friends. I told him they were being disrespectful to me, but he said I was wrong too because they said they wanted to discuss medical stuff, and I should have respected that and not made it personal. He's not speaking to me now. I was so hurt I couldn't argue anymore. I felt like I ruined his birthday by making a scene like he said and acting passive-aggressive. Am I the jerk? This whole situation's kinda messed up. There must be some reason why they're acting like this towards you. I can't really tell based on the information we're given, but there's gotta be something more going on here. I agree with the original poster that the boyfriend's friends were just very disrespectful in general. If he's really your friend, you wouldn't just ignore his significant other. Surely your overpaid education has taught you some basic manners. I think the problem is that this got to a boiling point before it was properly confronted. If you had sat down and just had the conversation, look, I know something's going on here and you guys don't like me and it's kinda starting to tick me off, so what's going on here? Maybe all of this could have been avoided. You find out what the problem is and you just try and address it up front. You both have a mutual person in your lives that you guys supposedly care about. There should be an effort made from both parties to try and get along. Not that it sounds like our original poster wasn't trying. These doctor guys just need to get their heads out of their butts. The two girls at the table next to us tried to dine and dash, but forgot something pretty important. My wife and I were in a Chinese restaurant in Sacramento and enjoying a nice dinner. A few feet away from us is a table with two semi-sloppy-looking high school-age girls. They had ordered this special meal, a huge combo full of a ton of different types of food, meant for two or more. Suddenly, we hear this yelling and the two girls have booked it into the parking lot with the waitress unable to catch up. After being pretty upset, the waitresses start to clean up the plates and then start laughing. Since we were regulars, they came and told us the story. The jerk left her brand new iPhone. I laughed and told her to call the cops. She said, "No, I sell the phone, it's worth more." We all had a good laugh until this fat lady walks in and discreetly says, "I think you found my phone," as we were walking out. The waitress gleefully replied, "Oh yes, we found it. I think you accidentally forgot to pay your bill though." Awesome dinner. Look, if you're gonna try and pull a jerk move like that, at least be prepared. Don't leave your phone lying on the table. You're definitely gonna have to go back for that. And I'm sure that's a pretty humiliating situation to have to walk into after you just tried to screw these people over. If all they did was make you pay the bill and gave you your phone back, consider yourself lucky. If they wanted to screw you over, they could. And you know what? You'd completely deserve it. Karen tries to pull her Karen-ness on what she thinks is the store manager, but it's actually an off-duty police officer who's not having any of it. I actually witnessed this interaction yesterday while I was shopping at my local electronics store, with the blue polo and tan khaki pants uniform style. Over in the next aisle was another customer. I'll call her Customer 1. She was wearing a white button-up shirt and dark khaki pants. Even though it was non-standard for the store, it looked professional. Based on her dress and general no-nonsense demeanor, I guess I can partly understand why Customer 2, soon to enter our story, assumed automatically that Customer number 1 was a manager. The exchange proceeded as follows.
Thank God. I've been looking for a manager for 15 minutes. I've been having a problem with my...
Sorry, I don't work here. There should be a manager up front.
I've been waiting to find you for 20 minutes. You're not gonna brush me off that easily. Now, here's what I need.
This escalates through several rounds of conversation, with Customer 2 escalating her offense, disbelief, and general attitude of entitlement, while Customer number 1 escalates in parallel, finally using her best crowd control voice, as she pulls out her badge and identifies herself as an off-duty police officer.
My name is Lieutenant Customer, and I am off-duty with City Police. Back off now or I place you under arrest.
Customer 2 was kind of talking on autopilot at this point and was taking a while to process what had just been said.
I've never been treated so poorly in my life. I'm gonna report this store to your headquarters.
Then customer 2's face turns various shades of red and ghost white in turn. Then she faints, dead on. Paramedics had to be called. I got to be an official witness for the police report. Honestly, the funniest part of this is how she kinda just kept going for a second. She's so wrapped up in her whirlwind of Karen that she doesn't even realize right away that she's almost screwed herself over. And when that realization sets in, the panic that sets in actually ends up making her faint. Come on, you know you screwed up to have that much of a reaction. But that means that you know that behavior's unacceptable if it would get you in trouble with a police officer. So why are you gonna treat others that way? Why is it okay when she's the manager, but all of a sudden now that she's a police officer, you freak out and faint? If only Karens had that same level of fear and respect for everyone else. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications. Put the playlist on in the background to finish listening to all the stories. Or if you want to listen to some vibey music in the background, check out easymode. If you like Am I the Jerk, give Am I the Genius a shot. Everything linked in the description.